morning, everybody, and welcome to Q&A. It is September 9th, 2024. Hey, yesterday was my birthday, my 48th birthday, so thank you to everyone who sent well wishes, and had a good time. Went to the Keys, Isla Mirada, and went to a all-you-can-eat seafood place called Whale Harbor with my family. Then came home and played some board games with my family. It was a good day all in all, so huzzah. This is a crazy week going on here. I am going to be leaving the studio very shortly, heading up to Nashville to work a bit at Ivy Studios. The rest of the team is going to be putting on tomorrow. Well, today they're playing a board game, which I'm forgetting the name of it. But they're doing a game live, and tomorrow they're doing Elder Scrolls. Mike's doing Elder Scrolls again on Friday, and we got lots of other live shows, crowd surfing, board games, smorgasbord, and more. So this is our bi-weekly Q&A. So I think I did one last week after the retreat, but if you have any questions, go ahead. Here's your chance to ask them what's going on with the Dice Tower and various things, and I will see what I can do. Mass Effect is today. Sorry, Mass Effect, the board game. So this is a video game week. Mass Effect today. Elder Scrolls tomorrow. Over the weekend, I played a bit of Elden Ring, having fun just smashing and slicing and dicing monsters in that one. This coming weekend is the Board Game Bash in Fort Myers, so if you're in the area, hopefully we'll see you there. I'm looking forward to trying out some new games there, because I just don't get enough new games all the time now. Let's see here. Which month in the Vasel household has the fewest, and which has the most birthdays? Well, the most is March, because 3 of my children were born in March. 2 on the same day. Melody and Claire were born 6 years apart on the same day. And then then the second is September. My birthday is of September, and so is my daughter. She was born 31 years after me. Is that right? It is right. Okay. Anywho. And then May. There's no birthdays in May, but that's my anniversary, so that's important to keep an eye on it. My son was born in February. My daughter was born in January. I have a daughter born in August. And my wife's birthday is in December. So, yeah. So, March wins with 3 out of the 9 birthdays in March. Fewest would just be one of those happy months when there is no birthday. I'm like, it's November. Of course, November has Thanksgiving, so there's that. Was travel always a part of your enjoyment of the board game hobby, or did that come as the Dice Tower grew? I don't know. I mean, I don't hate travel, but neither do I love it. I don't mind it. I like to go out and see things. I mean, flying an airplane is never particularly fun, but I'm always occupied. I always find things to do. I have a lot of work to do this week as we get ready for both the World Series of Board Gaming coming up 2 weeks, and then the Spiel Fair at Essen in 3 weeks. So there is much to do and to be prepared for. So even when I travel, I work on that. But I like to go to new places, see new things, eat different food. I did that before. I mean, you say, is that part of the board game hobby? I like to see new things in general. So it has nothing really to do with Dice Tower. Have I tried the new Star Wars Outlaws yet? Oh, that's a video game. No, I don't. I don't really play many games, so maybe I'll get it, but I don't play a ton of video games. I've been playing Elden Ring, I played Baldur's Gate, and that's almost the extent of my video gaming this year, taking off the account all the little weird apps I play on my iPad and stuff. But of big video games, that's pretty much all I played. Is there a board game that you would like to see implemented into a video game? No. Have you played Ghost of Tsushima? No. Again, I only play a game or two on my system. Where in Florida is it best to retire, excluding retirement communities? I wouldn't have a clue. Every place I've been to in Florida I liked. I liked Pensacola. I liked Jacksonville. I haven't been in Jacksonville much. I like Tampa. I like Fort Myers. I like Miami. Orlando. I don't know. They all seem cool. I can't decide between El Grande and Tammany Hall for my area control game. Well, you'll have to figure it out. Tammany Hall is meaner, that's for sure. What games did you all play on your birthday? I played Wondrous Creatures and Typewriter. All right. Can we look forward to another series of ranking character videos for the United Multiverse? Was a great series you did for the last sets. So, yes. But, okay, so I got the multiverse stuff in a couple weeks ago, and I've been toying with it and messing with it. You're about to see some of the content from that come up this week. In fact, this week, I'm going to be reviewing Marvel teams, the team decks that they have for Marvel, and I've ranked all 38 of those from 1 to 38. I'm also going to be reviewing World War Hulk for Marvel United. Next week, I'm going to review some more stuff for Marvel United. Then we got World Series of Board Gaming and Asset. Then I'll review some more. Then I'll review some more. And when I'm finished reviewing, I will then start the ranking of all 238 characters in Marvel United. This is a vast undertaking. I do not think I can stress how much work this is going to be. I've already inputted all the details from the multiverse characters onto the computer. I have already inputted, I have the old material from X-Men. I don't have the original ones. I'm going to have to redo those. And also all the characters now, some of the old characters have items and weapons and things like that, equipment. And everyone is on these teams, so the number of teams you are on is going to affect your rating. So I'm going to rank all 238 of them. The problem is that physicality is a lot of work to do that. Once I do have them all rated, then I got to start making the videos. I haven't decided how long these videos are going to be. Even if I do 20 in a shot, that's a big amount of work. So anyhow, that's something I plan to do, but I'm not rushing to do it. I'm taking my time. I've inputted all this stuff. Like I said, right now my goal is to go through and review all the new Marvel United stuff first. Let's see here. Have you tried the Unlock Game Book? I've heard about this, but I don't know much about it. Other than hearing about, that is the extent. Do you win often when you play Arc Nova? No, but I don't win often, so there's that. Thank you, Katie. I'm glad you enjoyed the top 10 deduction games this week, where our top 10 list will be our top 10 anticipated games from the Essence Spiel, which we'll be doing again next week because we're going to have different groups this week. I believe it is Chris, Camilla, and Z taking a look at it. And then next week will be me, Wendy, and Joey taking a look at games that we're anticipating from Essence Spiel. The sound is great with the new mics. Will we get to see a full view of the front of your new table? I thought I saw bits of the Dice Tower logo on the front. Yeah, when they made the table, it's hard to make a table knowing how it's going to look on camera. So when they made the table, those logos are obviously too big and too low to be fully on the set. We can't pull out much more in that room. I might take a picture of it and post it on Facebook at some point. Are you going to play the new Legend of Zelda game coming out this month? I thought it was already out. Maybe I'm wrong. Probably not, but I think my son will enjoy it. Any tips to win Arc Nova? No, because I'm not particularly good. Is Game Nerd still a sponsor of the Dice Tower? They are not currently a sponsor of the Dice Tower, no. Have I read Trees of the Emerald Sea? I have. I enjoyed that one. Of the 4 new books he did, that's probably my favorite. Although it was a little... Well, maybe not. No, the other one, the Wizard one, was, or the Time Zone one was better. Have you had a chance to check out the Stellar Horizons board game? Let me look this up. And I apologize that I don't know it better just based on the name of it because all these games tend to look the same. This is from Compass Games. I don't believe Compass... This is from 2020. Compass does not send us games. This looks like a big giant war game. We have not got it. I might play it, but I doubt it. Let's see what the time is on this. 120 to 240. Weight complexity, 3.92. It doesn't look likely that we will review it. If I had infinite time, which campaign games would I want to go back and finish? I'd like to finish Descent 2. I never finished that. Yeah, that's probably the main one. Listen to your recent podcast talking about friendly local game store methods to pay for internal play space. Have you seen any other alternative revenue methods in game stores? A Starbucks, a pizza oven, movie nights. I don't know. It's mostly food. Food is the way that they make the alternative revenue. But in a game store, or they have things that appeal to people who aren't gamers. That's how you make that extra money. Mike got his stuff from Simon, and Jay says, you must know someone. No, they're starting to deliver on the East Coast a bit. A few of them are going through. Will the World Series of Board Gaming get big enough to have qualifiers? They do have qualifiers at some conventions. I know they have one at Dice Tower West. So you can find some of the qualifier conventions if you want. If you had to consolidate your games down to only what would fit into one Calyx cube, what games would go in it? I would probably just start at my top 100 games of all time and stick number 1 in, then see if number 2 stuck in and things like that. I don't usually give myself such artificial constraints on that sort of thing. Who decides what videos will play back on the Dice Tower TV? Well, whoever puts it together. The editors have done it in the past, but I sometimes have picked them too. Thoughts about complaints on Comic Hunter's component quality? Well, I understand and I hear them. This was Spin Master is one who put together that component quality. Usually the Dice Tower Essentials line runs through Arcane Wonders, but runs through Spin Master in this particular case because Spin Master has the Marvel license. So we'll see. We're working with them because I'm not particularly pleased with them myself. Will I continue the 4 Coins campaign at some point? We will see what happens there. I'd like to continue, but we're going to take it one step at a time. Are you excited about the Kickstarter relaunch of Overpower? No. Maybe. I'm really cautious about this. So Overpower is a collectible card game that came out in 1995 from Marvel. I think it's a fantastic game. It has problems. It had power creep. It had a lot of problems. It also had a problem with them printing 600 billion of the base set and then very little of each of the following expansions, making it very hard, very difficult to get out of print. I have almost everything for the game. I've hunted down almost all of it, thanks to some of you. I have a lot of fan-made stuff, too. I have a ton of Overpower. It is a fun game. But my concern is power creep and metagaming and all that stuff. And when I'm looking at some of the stuff that they are promoting for this new Overpower set, it's like, you guys are putting things in there that people who have played the game 20 years, that's what it feels like. It feels like, and I haven't seen the full Kickstarter yet, just the preview page and things they're talking about, but it feels like, and it's not Marvel, I think. It's like things like Dracula and stuff like that. It's, stuff they can get the IP for, which I don't care about. That's fine, but it just feels like they're, like, for example, they have a multi-power 5, the 1 per deck, and like that's a rare thing, and any heroes, I'm like, man, just go with the basic stuff. Have a set for people who have never played before. It does not feel at all like that's what they're doing with this Kickstarter. It looks like they're making Overpower for the super fans who have played it for the past 20 years. And that worries me because I might enjoy it, but who else am I going to get to play it with me? I'm also not a huge fan of the art that I've seen so far, so I have a lot of negatives on this. And It feels like it's just made for this niche Overpower community when they should be trying to onboard more people. Why are the most popular board games still Uno and Monopoly after all this time? I see the available games in Barnes & Nobles and Target growing, but it seems people still have no idea. I don't know that they are the most popular. I mean, Monopoly is. I don't know that Uno is. It might be. I mean, Cards Against Humanity or Exploding Kittens or Scrabble or chess. Look, games are popular because they're popular, and because they're popular, they stay popular. And Hasbro does a good job at branding their games and getting them out there. Sure, hobby board games are growing, but it takes a long time to dethrone them. Catan and Ticket to Ride are just barely making indentations, and one's been out for 20 years, the other's been out for 30 years. You know, it's tough in that regard. So, we shall see. Casper says, what is your rating of Heat Pedal to the Metal, and what are your thoughts on it? So if you go to Board Game Geek and you can search for users there. And when you search for users, look for Tom Vasel. No space, just Tom Vasel. And there you can click on my collection. You can see what I've rated every game. I definitely keep my ratings up to date to some degree. You can't keep dates. But when I play new games, I immediately put a rating in, even if that rating will change. And in fact, let me go change a rating that I just fixed today. There we go, done. So you can see my ratings on that. And if I have thoughts on a game, I usually mention it in a review that I've done, and you can find that. I wasn't in the Heat review, but I do enjoy it a lot. Oh, Jonathan said, you put your rating on BGG for every game you play. I try to. Right now, when I pull up my ratings, let's see how many ratings I have right now. I've rated 8,849 games / expansions. So they're all over the place. Again, they skew higher, but that's also because there's a lot of games I can just look at and go, I don't want to play that. Otherwise, if I had to play every game I came across, they would skew much lower than that. Yeah, and games that I've given an excellent rating to are 9%. 9% of all the games I've played get excellent. I'm okay with that. But when it comes down to games that I've given approval to, that is 20, 40, that's more than 50% actually. No, I'm okay with that also. Please, 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 please do more Marble Run. We'll see. Carrot cake season. I don't know. Carrot cake's okay. I don't mind carrot cake. But I like marbled cake better. My wife got me a delicious cake with raspberry filling. That was delicious. Zelda is releasing September 26th. All right. What's my favorite haunted house at Universal this year? I'm going to drag my feet on that because we will talk about that in Smorgasbord probably next week. I don't have a favorite race or faction from Last Light. Mostly because I haven't played that many of them, so I wouldn't know. I'd have to go through and look at them. What was the first game you played with each current staff member? Well, for Z, it was Zeppelins. I remember that. Camilla, it was... I remember that. It was the one with the animals from Rebel. What's that game called? Sorry, my mind has gone blank there. Our games. I'm going to Rebel Studios and just looking at their games. Oh, Metal. With Chris, I think it was Zulkin. And Wendy, I think it was Zulkin. With both of them. I might be wrong, but I think that's what it was. With Joey, it was Cosmic Encounter, maybe? I don't remember the rest. Sorry. What have you not played in Descent 2.0? Well, I never finished the entire campaign. It's a long campaign. Has the studio received Andromeda's Edge yet? Maybe? Check out our boring unboxing tomorrow. Stellar Horizon is kind of a war game, but it's more of a space exploration focus. Forget the time play. I can't forget the time play. It's easy all weekend board game at 2. Now. I seen criticism of Dice Tower. No. About heavy games. So many games to review. Heavy games don't get their fair shake. Would you guys consider a top 10 heavy games overall? Well, first of all, we review heavy games all the time. But I know what you mean. You mean super, super, super heavy games. See, this is one of my pet peeves that I always get irritated with people about. Like, do you consider Agricola a heavy game? Because guess what? It is. And you're like, no, Agricola is not a heavy game. To you. But the 99.99% of the population, and I'm probably speaking too highly there, it is. Chess is a heavy game. There's a lot of stuff going on in these games, and people don't realize that. But what you mean are the really dense, heavy Euro games. That's usually what people are talking about whenever they say, why don't you review heavy games? Well, first of all, we review a lot of them. I know Chris and Wendy have reviewed Lacerda games. Heaven forbid they not like one. They get yelled at. And we review some of them, but there's some that we don't cover. We don't cover the 18XX games. You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm not hiring a reviewer just to review games for 20 people. Because really, the number of people who watch and want these really heavy game ratings, there's not that many of them. We want to review games so that people come to our channel and be like, "Ooh, I've heard about this Wingspan. I've heard about these games." We have this gets really in a little bit of bragging, and I apologize about that. But we cover more games than almost probably anyone else. We cover the most games. We cover a lot. And so when people are like, you don't cover everything, we can't. We have to pull some things. So we leave those. There are channels out there that cover the heaviest games. So let them cover them. We try to get as many as we possibly can. And sometimes that includes heavy games. These quote unquote heavy games. And I don't consider your question, by the way, Katie, to be disrespectful at all. It's just that this top 10 heavy game thing always gets me a little irritated because there are games that are heavy. Look, Le Havre is a heavy game. Feast for Odin is a heavy game. But when I say that, people are like, well, blah, 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 blah. These aren't really heavy games. Well, then I don't know what to say. So that's why you'll probably never see a top 10 heavy game from us. And then the same people who say that almost look down their nose on people for liking lighter games. I played Wondrous Creatures with my family yesterday. It's not a light game by any means. And my kids, who are 17 and 15, were able to understand it. But there's still a lot of stuff going on. But a lot of people look at that and go, that's light. That's balderdash to think such things. John says, I'm loving the current Dice Hour podcast. When recording you, are you all on Zoom or just talking over audio? We just talk over audio. Me and Eric have done that for years. We didn't have the Zoom option ages ago, and so we just got pretty good at it. Have you played Dungeon Twister recently? Not recently, but I'm looking forward to. I might just drag my feet and wait till the new set comes out from the Kickstarter or GameFound project. I mean, quick thoughts on the card game. I thought the card game was good. It loses some of the gravitas of the board game, but it's a pretty strong implementation of the board game. I finished watching your entire Look Back series. Thanks. Appreciate all your hard work. Well, a lot of it is also Chris, who puts all the editing work into that, so keep that in mind. How many reviews are reviewers on Dice are required to do per week as part of their jobs? Assuming it's more complex than just the numbers, reviewers have more than just one job. That is correct. We make a schedule up of videos that goes out over the week, and people have different responsibilities, and we fulfill those responsibilities. A lot of people have other responsibilities and things behind the scenes. You don't see as much stuff that goes behind the scenes. See, I'm a front guy a lot of times, and I'm sitting here and I'll do reviews with people, but behind me, there are people back there editing and doing a lot of other stuff. What is the best way to become better at teaching games? Kind of by doing, but by doing isn't necessarily going to help you, because I know a lot of people will teach games for 20 years and I still don't want to have them teach me a game. Some people are just better at it than others. But that is an interesting thing. I've thought about making a video on that. It feels a little presumptuous to pretend that I'm great at teaching games. I mean, there's people out there like Rodney Smith who make a living out of teaching games. I feel like I'm pretty decent at distilling down to a quick summary, but I make mistakes when I teach games all the time. But looking at a pitch card, do you think it'll be distributed in the U.S. again soon? Yeah, it kind of ebbs and flows. I think I would just keep an eye out and wait if it was me. Reprint of Nexus Ops is coming soon. Do you think it's aged well? Well, yes, and it's not coming soon. I mean, it may be out in retail, but they were definitely selling it at Gen Con. Hi, Tom. Excited for Altered Trading Card Game. Did someone at the studio play it yet? And when can we get a review? Tomorrow. If you are going to Sonic to get drinks, what's your go-to drink order? I haven't been to Sonic in a long time, probably well over a year. But I usually get some sort of slushie. And then sometimes I put Nerds in it, because that's just what I like. What's the best thing you ate this weekend? Someone at my church gave me chocolate-covered cherries. So strawberries. I love chocolate-covered fruit. I don't know why. Well, chocolate-covered, I guess I haven't had that many. Just strawberries, raspberries, and cherries. But I love chocolate and fruit mixed together. When I was a kid, I lived in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And there's a little chocolate place there called Josh Early's. I wonder if they still exist. They probably do. But let's see here. Josh Early's. Josh Early Candies, a candy store in Allentown, Pennsylvania. They do still exist. So they made fancy chocolates, and they have all different chocolates there. It's one of the places that I got, I learned that's where I first had chocolate cherries from, nonpareils. But I don't even see them here on their thing anymore. They used to have, they would have chocolate and creams, but they'd have chocolate jellies, which is basically just a chunk of jelly covered in chocolate. And I love those. Chocolate raspberry jelly, chocolate lemon jelly. I like that so much. I know it's just a me thing. Obviously, not everyone likes this, but I like taking sherbet and putting chocolate syrup on it, especially Magic Shell. And you put that on it, and that combo of chocolate and fruit, I just love. I don't particularly like them. I'm not a huge chocolate guy. Give me a chocolate bar, I'm like, thanks. I don't dislike it. It's fine. It's chocolate. You give me some fruit. I like it. It's fine. It's fruit. But that combination from someone, anyway, I like chocolate-covered strawberries. And someone gave me that for my birthday because they knew I liked chocolate-covered strawberries. There is a benefit being very vocal about the foods you like. Have you ever had a spooky thing happen to you that you just can't explain? Probably. Board Game Buzz says, happy to catch a live this morning. I feel like we might catch a live this evening, too. We'll see what happens. How do you decide if you're going to swap out an old edition for a new one? I almost always swap out the old for the new. Almost always. It's like 95%. But every once in a while, a game comes in and I go, I think the original was better. I like the original better. But that doesn't happen very often. If you could have any historical hat to wear, which one would you pick? Well, I wish we still wore tri-cornered hats. I know. I don't own one. Maybe I do. I don't think I do anymore. Because I'm not going to wear that around because it just looks kind of dorky. And you'll say, hey, Tom, your fedoras look dorky. Well, that's been said. It's often used as a derogatory term that people will say about me. If they don't like my views on board games or whatever, they'll be like, I saw someone call me Hat Man and that fedora-wearing clown. And I'm always a little amused about that because often the people who say that would be very offended if I commented on their personal appearance. But to be fair, the fedora isn't necessarily something I can remove a fedora, right? You know, if you make fun of me because I'm fat, you might say there's not much you can do about that, possibly, or tall or whatever. The hat you can take off. I'm just always amused at some people's hatred of fedoras. I like them. I enjoy the hats. I think they work good in the sun. They work good in the rain. But a historical hat, I want them to bring back the tri-cornered hat. Have you gotten a look at Natera New Beginning? I know not of what you speak. Natera New Beginning. Looks like it's a board game. You are Sentient Animal Tribes. This is from Horizon Games. It's the only game they've done. It looks okay. Was this a Kickstarter? It might have been a Kickstarter. Yep, it was a Kickstarter. Wait, is it a Kickstarter? Oh, it's a current Kickstarter? No. Don't be wasting my time with current Kickstarters. I look at them for crowdsurfing and crowdsurfing alone. I will back it or not back it, then I immediately forget about it because I'm here about games that are out right now. That's me. Have you played Ezra Nehemiah? I have not yet played Ezra Nehemiah. I will try to get to that point. What was it that made you decide or realize he would make a great permanent member of the Dice Tower? It was kind of a realization. At the time, I was, the Dice Tower was getting exhausting for me a little bit. I was working hard on it. And Z had, they cut his job at the school. They cut the theater positions, just like the movies, just like Mr. Holland's Opus, cutting the arts. And I thought, what if I had someone else help me? It was just like a light bulb moment for it. And I already knew I liked Z. He was already on. He would already come over and record top 10s with me occasionally and different videos like that. So I knew that we gelled together. So it was a pretty easy thing to ask. I've heard more mentions of our local game publisher, Grand Gamers Guild, on your channel. Well, you should. They make some good games. They just made Tir na Nog, which is a great little game. What do you think of their overall run of games? They have a lot of good ones. They have some I don't like, but they have a lot of good ones. Do you allow volunteers to help at cons? Sometimes. It depends on the con and what we need. I mean, we're always looking for volunteers at our Dice Tower East, West, and Cruise. But, I mean, the volunteers, there are already people who are coming usually. At other cons, possibly, you can always email me and ask, and it all depends. What is my favorite Korean food? Budae jjigae. Soup. Very delicious. Do you ever notice patterns in what make some of your kids love gaming and others not as much? No, just everyone's different. It's interesting to me. So we went to an all-you-can-eat seafood place yesterday, and my son went up to the bar there that has the seafood bar thing, and you could ask for something like shrimp. So he asked for oysters, and I was like, are you sure? Because that's something that I don't like, cold oysters that much. Heated oysters are fine, but cold, no thanks. And a lot of people don't, particularly kids. And so he got them. He's like, these weren't bad, but I like the smaller ones. I'm like, oh, you mean clams. So we went up to the area where they had clams and scallops, and that is basically all he ate the rest of the time. And I thought, it's just interesting because here I'm his dad, and I am shrimp king. I love shrimp and lobster. I'll eat that all day long. And my wife likes steak, and then the other kids like various things, but we have our likes, and that can get passed on to our kids, but you cannot, at the end of the day, pick what they're going to like and / or love. You can pass loves on to your kids, but not always, right? My dad loves football. I listen to football. I get football. I can enjoy a football game, but I don't go out of my way to go to them ever. Like, ever. Does that mean my dad failed as a parent? No, it's nonsense. So I really, really strongly feel this about kids in general. We have this we got to get our kids into games. We do not. Some of my kids are into games more than others. Very few of my kids will beg to play a board game. It just very rarely happens. They're around them more than any other human on earth. But they do play games with me, and we enjoy them. That's just how it works out. So I don't have any patterns or things to tell you. But you're not a failure if your kids don't love board games. Enjoy what they do love. Will you review Wondrous Creatures soon? Yeah, we're reviewing it this week. That's one of the reasons I was playing it again yesterday. Will I play the photosynthesis game live soon? Fall equinox around the corner. Probably not. It's not on our schedule here. Will there be a review of the new Mass Effect game? Well, we're playing it live today. We haven't played it yet, so we can't review it yet. Greg says, happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate it. Tom, I was at a convention this weekend, says Jason, and I think going forward I would rather only teach games I want to play rather than join other people who are teaching. Which do you prefer? I like teaching so much more than learning. This is a failing on my part. I struggle to listen to other people teach games. I don't know. I'm working on it. I love teaching games to people, though. So that's just it for me. Everyone's going to be different. Can we get a top 10 contract fulfillment games video? Maybe. Have you watched the Board Game Co. video about Simon and Backer Kit? No. I don't know what you're talking about. I will look and see. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Well, I don't see anything recently, so I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever. I don't know what... I can't answer the question. Have you ever had a proud father moment with one of your employees where they went above and beyond or succeeded at something they were worried about? I think my employees do an amazing job. I'm cautious to say I have a proud father moment of them because I don't think they needed me to do well, and I don't know that I taught them anything necessarily. I think they do well despite working with me. I am always glad to see people do well. Even people who's not working at the Dice Tower anymore, like Sam Healy. Well, he's back now in a part-time position. But like Sam and Dan King and other people who left the Dice Tower and go off on their way, I'm always glad to see the success that they've had. I'm always happy when people go and have success. That's my goal. Is the Dice Tower podcast available on YouTube? Yes. No, it's not on YouTube. Sorry, it's just an audio podcast. I have an idea for top 10. Hear me out. A top 10 games that did not need an expansion, but still got one, and it was a terrible expansion. Well, I don't know if I could do 10 of that. I don't know that I want to. That might be some work. I will be at Edison for the first time ever. We only come for one day, so if I pre-order games that come at the booths, make sure to have stock for pre-order no matter what time I come during the day. Maybe. Probably. Dice Tower is an amazing operation. Always amazed and impressed how the small group of folk were able to provide so much high-quality content, run conventions, etc. Because I have the best of the best working for me. That's why. What's the heaviest game you play, literally measured in pounds? I have no idea. Probably one of the Chip Theory games. They're pretty heavy. Will you be covering any games like OrQuest, Warpath, or Tenaris Adventures? I have Tenaris Adventures. They're just these big, giant role-playing style games are just harder to get to the table. That's all. We have a family reunion of sorts where all previous reviewers come and play and make a big time of it. We have people come back occasionally. You never know what you might see in the future. First rule being good at teaching a game to others that the rule book is easy to read. Well, maybe, but I mean, once you figure out a game, the rule book has nothing to do with the teach, per se. Big Zombicide fan here, says Joe. Black Plague and Green Horde in particular. Any love for these? Well, I think Zombicide's okay. I'm a little zombie-sided out. I will say my favorite Zombicide is Night of the Living Dead. How's my birthday? My birthday was fine. Thank you, Jonathan. Do I think there will ever be 5 days of gaming at Gen Con? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know what the point of it is for Gen Con to do that. Like, why would Gen Con do that? They already make money from people. They're selling out with people going for 4 days. So they don't need to add a fifth day. A fifth day would add a ton to their costs. They might make some money from it, for sure. There's things like that, but I just don't see that it would benefit them. They'd have to come in another day early. I doubt it, but I could be wrong. Did you talk about Deadpool and Wolverine on Smorgasburg? I don't believe we did. Chocolate Shell is amazing. I know. I'm always amazed at how people are just not that big of fans of it, I guess, or you don't talk about it. Like, you go to Ice Cream Party, there's never Magic Shell there. I tell you this, when I buy Magic Shell at my house, I buy more Magic Shell than every other topping combined, because when it comes in, that is what everyone wants. They all love Magic Shell. Why was there no smorgasbord last week? Well, we moved for just various reasons. We had to move crowd surfing to Thursday, so we just did that instead. And then we did a news show on Friday, because the news is the most important part of Smorgasbord. Well, Smorgasbord will be back this week. How is the family? The grandkids? Good. Another question. Do you think there will be 5 days of Gen Con? Is this the same person? Oh, yeah, it is. But thank you for the super chat. But I already answered the question. I sent you some fresh shrimp from out of the river here in Illinois for your birthday. Wait, what? I don't get this. But yeah, no, shrimp, man, it's so amazing though. It's when you're down in the Keys and you eat that food, you can instantly be like, yeah, this was just caught today or something. That's just a fascinating thing. The Dice Tower are some of the best chat mods on YouTube. Where did you meet all of them? I just kind of asked people to do it, and there wasn't any super vetting process. I just picked people who were in chat a lot. But yes, they are some of the best. I'm kidding. They are the best chat mods on YouTube. Where do I store my hats? I have a wall here in the Dice Tower with pegs on it, and all the hats are on those pegs. Is there a food you didn't like as a kid but love now? Oh, that's interesting. Let me think. Because the opposite true. There's a lot of foods that I loved as a kid that I don't really care for now. Kraft mac and cheese would be one of them. Boiled hot dogs would be another. But is there a food I didn't like as a kid but love now? Maybe baked potatoes. I didn't love baked potatoes as a kid. I thought they were okay. Now I think baked potatoes are amazing. But you know what? I think part of the reason I didn't love baked potatoes as a kid is I believe that potatoes that you buy for baking now are just better in general. Because now when you bake a potato and you open it, the skin is light and crispy. I don't know, maybe it was the potatoes my mom bought, but they were big and hard. You got to the skin part and you were just like, oh, it was like chewing through beef jerky. And I just never thought about that. And now they're light and crispy skin on the outside. It doesn't bother me, but it bothered me, that big nasty skin part. Now that's part of it. I smashed a whole. My baked potatoes always turn into a smashed potatoes anyway. I'm smashing it. Got to put sour cream, chives, cheese, bacon, more cheese, salt, barbecue sauce, corn. It's a whole smorgasbord in there. How many of the staff are going to Essen this year? It's going to be myself, Chris, Mike, Camilla, Z, Emery. The 6 of us will be going. Let's see. If you could pick one board game to be made a movie, what would you pick? I wouldn't really think about it. Maybe Time Stories. But then so I can go in and hate on watching Bob. So about the ratchet mechanism, I had a chance talking to a designer. He had never heard the term ratchet, and he said it's usually called a time track mechanism. Whoever's farthest back goes first. Sure. I just started calling it ratchet, so I don't know. Can the Dice Tower please do a review on the board game Lords of Baseball? It's very good, and I wish more people knew about it. Then tell people. See, people always are like, I wish you guys would review this game. Well, I wish we could review every game. We can't, and we don't. We review a lot. I review anywhere from like 7 to 12 games a week. But it has to be one that's sent to us. So if companies don't send us games, we don't play it. Lords of Baseball, I don't know if we got this one yet. I'm actually pretty interested in it, but if it doesn't come to us, I don't always have time to go and get it myself. So that happens sometimes. But it's not my job to promote the game for these publishers. It's their job. So I'm going to kind of work with the ones who do send me games if possible. What's the cap on number of people at Dice Tower Retreats? 350, I believe, is the number. Any thoughts on slightly increasing the cap? Nope. It's the exact same this year as it was last year. What's my favorite Racco style game? Probably 10 Days in Africa. Come to Rhode Island, Tom. I'll bring you to the Nordic Lodge all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Well, don't tempt me. I just got to figure out why I would ever go to Rhode Island. Not like in a negative thing. It's just that I don't know that there's a reason for me to go there. At some point, I'm going to go visit my brother, who lives in Pennsylvania a bit. I saw Brian did a review for Deliverance. I've not yet played it. I know it's on my list of Tom, get around to playing these games. At some point, I will. I don't feel like most games need expansion, says Loopy, and I don't disagree with him. Is there any chance to reschedule the Hi-Fi live play? Maybe. These things come and go. You never can be quite sure. How much did you love Garlic? I liked it a lot, and you can go see in our review we did of it. What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done? Not much, probably. I mean, moving to Korea, I would suppose, was adventurous. I don't take a lot of leaps of faith with my life, so ask my wife to marry me was easy. That was not adventurous. But I've had an adventure-filled good life, so I can't complain. Why do I open my board game boxes upside down? Well, it's usually easier to open from end, but also because it keeps all the information off the top of the box off the screen. Am I going to watch the Apple event today? I don't know if I'm going to have time. I don't actually know when the Apple event is. Let's look it up. What time is the Apple event? Is it tonight? 1 p.m. Well, maybe I'll be on a plane soon after that. Maybe I'll watch it. Have I watched Star Wars Acolyte? I have not. Or the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power new season? I have not. The Acolyte, I heard so many negative reviews about it from people that I know and trust, so I have no interest in it. And Lords of the Rings of Power, I really, 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 really disliked the first season, so I don't know why I would watch the new season. Spinball versus Crokinole. I like Spinball better, probably. Crustaceans are water bugs. Maybe, but they're delicious water bugs. Sauerkraut was a punishment as a kid, but now I can eat it just alone. No, I like sauerkraut as a kid, so that one hasn't changed. Let's see. What is the obsession, you Americans? Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Country, anti-country thing. What do you mean by you Americans? Other people in the world like cheese too. Anyway, what's the obsession, you Americans, with having cheese and everything? I bet you have cheese and cheese. Well, first of all, yes. But secondly, what's wrong with liking cheese? And thirdly, whenever you do you Americans, it immediately comes across as just so smarmy. You got to realize that, right? Like if I'm like, you French do this and you British people do this. I don't know. I just find that sort of thing is maybe as a joke sometimes. I mean, I don't mind when people make jokes about that sort of thing. Make jokes about American all you want. I do that myself. I tell people if you speak 2 languages, you're bilingual. If you speak 3, you're trilingual. But if you speak 1 language, you're an American. But see, I'm the American, so I get to make that joke. Anyway, I don't really care that much. We like cheese. We're going to have cheese, cheese and cheese and cheese and cheese and cheese and cheese. What's our obsession with having cheese and everything? It's amazing and delicious. Early thoughts on the upcoming Civ 7. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm glad Sid Meier's is involved with it. This idea of switching from Civ to Civ as the years go by, I'm going to have to see it first. To be fair, I'm always very skeptical of new Civs. I don't, they always announce them, then you play it and you're like, that's pretty good. They've got rid of workers. That's weird. So we'll see. It's coming out soon, though. I do like that they're launching it on Apple at the same time that they're launching it everywhere else. So I'm definitely going to try it. But I don't know much more than that. Any ETA on a review for Andromeda's Edge that I opened this morning? We haven't even opened the box. I just took it out of the box. Who knows? What's your favorite food, candy, or treat to have when you're in Germany? For us, definitely the doner kebabs. I love them so much. They are so delicious. That's easily my favorite thing there. Have you checked out any more of the Heroescape coming out? No, I'll just wait till it shows up and see what the new stuff is. There's a bunch of drama on the Board Game Geek forums over a reviewer in the UK extorting a small publisher after receiving a prototype. Do you pay attention to it? Seems reviewers are concerned. I keep an eye on anything that happens of that such nature. But I stay out of these things because I try to stay out of most drama for the most part. What does it have to do with me? It literally has nothing to do with me. So I'm not involved. Isn't it great when you are introduced to a new game and just love it? Oh, I know. It's like one of the best feelings in the world. I love when I'm sitting and playing a game and you just like, this is so good. That's a great feeling to have when you're playing a game. More stuff expansions? Yes. Or variable player expansions? More stuff. Do you have any game ideas you'd like to see published? No, not particularly. Although I will say 2 nights ago, I woke up in the middle of the night having designed a game in my sleep. And I remember a lot of it, actually. And I don't know if I'll do anything with it, but I was just impressed at the time. I was like, weird, I was designing a game in my sleep. But definitely, that doesn't normally happen to me. But I definitely remember a good chunk of it, and who knows if I'll follow up on it or not. Any interesting insights in your kids growing up around your business and it being public-facing? It doesn't affect us as much. It's not like people go and hunt down those old videos and be like, oh, look, Amy, we saw you when you were 5. That stuff doesn't happen very often, maybe. But it's not a huge... They haven't complained about it too much. Are you excited for Stormlight Book 5 in December? I'm reading through them to catch up. Well, I just did read through them to catch up. And yes, I'm excited about it. I'm going to be taking vacation in December, and I am 100% going to stop and read that book. Now I'm going to make some smoked mac and cheese. I know. I love cheese as much as the next guy, but it's interesting the cultural differences when it comes to cheese in the US of A and the rest of the world was not meant as critique. Yeah, I know, you just say you Americans, it comes across that way. But are you excited for the new Hunt for Goa movie in development? This is the first I've heard of it. Maybe? Oh, yeah, not adventurous. What are you talking about? Taking the plunge and making a dice tower the main source of your income is so adventurous. Yeah, that's true. Have you seen or discussed the announcement that Unmatched Bruce Lee is coming back as a 2-pack with Muhammad Ali? No, but we'll be mentioning that in the news this week for sure. Have you had your eye on Star Trek Star Realms? Do you plan to do a review for it when it's released? Well, probably. It sounds interesting. It is said that we foreigners can't participate in Dice Tower giveaways. If I won something, I would gladly pay for the shipping if that is the reason. You say you would pay for the shipping, but you might not. Like the big bag giveaways, the shipping for those was in the hundreds of dollars. That's really expensive. But see, shipping is not the only reason that these contests are not often for folks overseas in America. It's often just logistical and or licensing reasons. If Company A is selling a game Wookajok, and Wookajok is available, that company has the North American licensing. They can't, and then another company B, has the licensing for selling it in Estonia. The people in Estonia are going to have to get it from Company B. Company A is not allowed to send it to them even as part of a contest. So there's a lot of logical and logistical things, and I know it sucks, but we do the best we can. We try to have international contests whenever we can, but it's not in a sense that we're trying to pull up our noses. To be fair, our content is international that we do on the channel. All of our content. We're not blocking that in any countries. So there's that. Tom is going on vacation. Well, that's not for a long time, so don't worry about it. Excuse me. Any place you get recognized where you didn't expect to get recognized? It happens a lot, actually. Where was the weirdest place that it happened to me? I don't remember, but it happens every once in a while. At the retreat, you mentioned there was a game that had a prize if you played it. What was it? Well, what do you mean, what was it? It hasn't been played yet. Yes, says Mike, we searched so many games on Sunday morning. That's when we discovered that Keeping It Sexy was autographed personally to Tom. That's right. Me and Kenny G, we have a connection. I'm pretty sure they sat him down and said, write this out to these 6 reviewers, because I'm not the only person, I think, who has one of those. But it is something that I enjoy. Alrighty, you know what? I'm going to end here because I have several things I need to get going and do today. Getting ready to head up to Nashville, and we got a live play coming in just 2 hours. So I want to say thank you to all of you for all that you do, for watching our show. We'll see you guys as we go throughout this week. Cool things are coming. And like I said, World Series board games, that's going to be fun for you all to watch these champions battle it out in gaming. It's going to be fun. We're going to be going to Essen. Lots of cool things coming your way. But until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us for that video. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, make sure you check out what's happening, where I'll cover an app on an iOS or a Switch device, and you can check it out along with me. Thanks very much. You've been watching The Dice Tower.